Imagine driving a machine with over 500 horsepower. Now, imagine doing that without ever changing a gear. No first gear, no second gear, no clutch. Just a completely smooth, continuous flow of power from the exact second it starts moving. Sounds almost impossible, right? Well, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the unbelievable reality of modern farming, where farmers are spending a cool $1 million on a machine that never even touches a paved road. By the end of this, you're going to understand exactly why they never want to drive a traditional gearbox again.
So let's just look at this jarring comparison for a second. If you walked into a dealership with $1 million burning a hole in your pocket, what would you buy? That kind of cash easily gets you a luxury mansion in many parts of the world, or, an entire fleet of shiny new Lamborghinis. But on the right side there, that's what a single highly advanced modern farm tractor costs. And the craziest part is that farmers all around the world are actively choosing the tractor over the supercars every single day.
$1 million. And to be perfectly clear, we aren't talking about buying a whole farm here. We're not talking about vast acres of land. We are talking about one single vehicle. Farmers are literally dropping this massive amount of cash on tractors today, and they are doing it willingly.
So this begs the obvious question. Why on earth would anyone spend $1 million on a machine that spends its entire life just dragging dirt around in a field? I promise you, the answer we're about to uncover, especially when we get into the engineering underneath the hood, is going to completely change how you think about modern farming.
All right, part one, not your grandpa's tractor. Let's completely shatter that old illusion right now.
When most people hear the word tractor, they picture a rusty, noisy beast from their grandpa's era. But the modern physical tractor is just the tip of the iceberg. Look inside that cabin. It looks more like a fighter jet. For decades, tractors worked with manual gearboxes. Operators had to stop, shift gears, match engine speed, and constantly adjust while bouncing around in the field. Every gear change interrupted power. Every mistake reduced efficiency. Fendt engineers looked at this and asked a really simple question. What if a tractor never needed to change gears at all? That single question led to the Vario Transmission, which uses a continuously variable transmission, or CVT.
Because of that innovation, these machines aren't just driving, they're rolling data centers. They collect real-time data on soil conditions and machine efficiency every single second. Here's where the real magic happens. Inside the transmission, instead of relying only on mechanical gears, the Vario system combines hydrostatic and mechanical power. Imagine pulling a massive cultivator and the soil suddenly becomes way softer. A traditional tractor would definitely need a gear change, but this one, it instantly adjusts the transmission to maintain the perfect balance between power and speed. The operator doesn't even have to think about it. The computer does absolutely everything.
But we have to ask ourselves, what massive problem makes this incredibly expensive tech absolutely necessary? I mean, farmers aren't just buying these rolling data centers for fun.
It all comes down to scale. If a farmer has thousands of acres of land, doing it the old-fashioned way requires dozens of workers and takes weeks of time. Compare that to a modern tractor. One single machine, a few hours of work. The result of that smooth, continuous Vario power is less wheel slip, better fuel economy, and wildly higher productivity. One of these machines is quite literally doing the work of an entire village.
And time is literally money out in the fields. A delay of just a few days because a clunky old transmission broke down or weather rolled in means a massive financial loss. So spending $1 million on a highly reliable machine that guarantees you hit your timing window perfectly, suddenly that starts to look a lot less like a luxury and a lot more like an incredible bargain.
Now, here's where things get really wild. How exactly does a massive, multi-ton machine bouncing around in the mud know its exact position on the earth down to the very inch?
Let's get into part 2, guided by space satellites, because the answer sounds like it belongs in a sci-fi movie.
These machines are literally looking up to the stars. Advanced satellite GPS allows them to drive in nearly perfect straight lines across vast fields. It reduces path overlap so you aren't double planting. When you combine this flawless, space-guided steering with a transmission that never jerks or interrupts power, you dramatically decrease wasted fuel and seed. By linking to space, this heavy machinery saves farmers thousands of dollars every single year.
But some models take this satellite connection even further by actually driving themselves. So why do self-driving tractors exist? Hint, it has absolutely nothing to do with making the farmer's life more convenient.
Part 3, the labor crisis. This builds into a really critical issue of survival for our entire global food supply chain.
We are currently facing two completely opposing forces. On one hand, we have a rapidly shrinking workforce of skilled farm labor. On the other hand, farms are increasing in size to meet global food demands. More land to cover, but way fewer people to actually do the work. Farmers desperately need an autonomous technological solution just to bridge this gap.
Enter the autonomous solution. The machine steps in to safely handle the driving. Remember how we talked about that continuous variable transmission making life easier? Instead of constantly shifting gears, the operator simply selects the desired speed and the tractor automatically maintains it. Long working days, sometimes 10 or 12 hours, become way less tiring. The farmer essentially becomes a systems manager, monitoring complex operations. That comfort and automation make a huge difference during harvest season.
Okay, we've covered the computers, the space satellites, and the self-driving tech. But what is the season? Okay, we've covered the computers, the space satellites, and the self-driving tech. But what is the single biggest reason these machines ring up at a higher price tag than an Italian supercar?
Part 4. The true cost explained. Let's look under the paint.
Most people just see the physical steel and tires. They completely miss the invisible price tag. You're funding years of intense engineering and research. The engine is designed to stay in its absolutely most fuel-efficient RPM range, while the transmission adjusts speed entirely independently. That means lower fuel consumption, way less engine wear, and lower operating costs over thousands of working hours. Over the lifetime of the tractor, those savings are massive. The gearbox isn't just another component, it's the beating heart of the machine. And as you can see from this quote, they aren't buying these for status. In the business of agriculture, every single dollar spent on one of these setups is an investment that is absolutely expected to generate a measurable, massive return.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? A Lamborghini is an amazing piece of engineering, for sure, but at the end of the day, it's built to move a couple of people really fast. A modern tractor is built with extreme global utility. It is literally built to help feed millions of people.
So what makes this tech so special? It's the smooth, uninterrupted power, the automatic speed adjustment, the excellent fuel efficiency. One machine planting crops with exact precision, operating at scales that would have seemed completely impossible a generation ago. It's not just a fancy gearbox, it's one of the biggest reasons why modern tractors have become more productive than ever before. When you look at the stakes of feeding the world, that $1 million price tag actually makes perfect sense.
The next time you drive past a tractor working in a field, remember, you might just be looking at a machine that is infinitely smarter and more expensive than a supercar. So, I have to ask, if someone handed you $1 million right now, would you choose the traditional supercar or the $1 million gearless self-driving tractor? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed learning about the technology behind this explainer,